Welcome to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Braylon Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Running pattern to Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Where we bring you the best in sports, entertainment, and insight. Join us every weekday from 2 to 4 p.m. as we break down the latest games, analyze the biggest plays, and dive into the hottest topics in sports. We'll have exclusive interviews with your favorite athletes and guests, and you'll get a front row seat to all the action. So tune in to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Got one-on-one going end zone. Edwards in the air. Oh, what a catch by Braylon Edwards. His second touchdown of the game.
On the Woodward Sports Network, where sports comes to life.
Let's go.
There we go. Welcome into the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep. I'm your host, Braylon Edwards, rocking some of this red wing gear, if you feel me. I was going to wear the Pistons, but maybe something happened yesterday that deteriorated a little bit. I see it did the same for my co-host, Shep, because he's rocking those Detroit Lions who are live and active at the Combine.
I know you're not supposed to wear red at Schembechler Hall. It's forbidden.
Yeah,
but you look good in red. You look good with the Red Wings gear.
Tell you something, my girl told me I look good in everything. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the ladies in my life, man.
So recently we've seen Braylon wear a lot of green, and today he's wearing red. It's interesting.
Switch up a little bit. It's Red Wings.
It's Red Wings, yeah.
It's
Red.
Side note, like I'm wearing Red Wings wear, and it's gotten me in trouble before, if you will. I was doing an autograph signing. I was doing an autograph signing up north, and Darren McCarty was going to be up there as well. Shout out to D-Mac. Catch him 11-1, Big D Energy. He was going to be there. So I wore Red Wings little hoodie situation. I said, I'm going to wear it for D-Mac, man. My brother's going to be up here signing autograph. Like, I'm so focused on showing love to 4-time Stanley Cup winning D-Mac, my brother, like no other, that I completely forgot I was going up there as a University of Michigan Wolverine. So, when I show up to the autograph signing, and it was very similar to this one, who I got from the Red Wings last year. Appreciate you guys. I had this on. I had on white shoes. Instantly, everybody, what's up with all these Ohio State colors? I was like, holy shit. I was like, you guys are absolutely right. I legitimately grabbed a couple T-shirts from the guy I was signing some autographs from, went in the back, changed, put a little Michigan hoodie, switched my whole look up, and came back. So,
vibe up.
Hey, they're serious about it. In the state of Michigan, you cannot wear these colors. If you wear these colors, you are telling the masses, oh, yeah, I'm about that life. And I am not.
It seems like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, they don't play no games in this state, man. Like, if I wear green in the state, it's the same thing.
And by the way,
what are you doing wearing green? I play for the Jets.
It's the same obviously in Ohio.
You can't wear it in Ohio. But see, the difference is, at least here, there's Michigan State. There's other institutions where, whatever. In Ohio, everything is Ohio State.
Right.
So you can't wear anything. You don't even wear your other, like if you go to, whatever other schools are around, Ohio, Bowling Green State University, Toledo, you're still wearing Ohio State colors. Everybody, everything is about those states.
It seems like they're all even. Yeah. You could be a football player on Toledo, like you just mentioned,
and cheer for Ohio State.
And cheer for Ohio State. And you're probably wearing more Ohio State stuff on your campus than you might be wearing your own stuff.
Yeah, State of Ohio got in trouble for that, because you're supposed to give money to each institution, like certain amount is, that kind of certain amount of money is passed, evenly throughout the institutions, and they wouldn't give any of their money to any other schools. They would just give it to Ohio State. Hey,
that's not cool.
It's
not
it's
cool.
Also not.
Did
surprising.
anyone maybe when you went to that Red Wings party with Darren McCarty, did anyone maybe mistake you for Tony McKegney? One of the black players for the Red Wings in history.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. They was like, oh, this be easy. He's a traitor.
Power history.
You saw it? You saw he brought that stat up, man. That stat up.
So, you brought up the Pistons, and Cam's got his Lions hat on. Kool-Aid's got...
the blacked out Red Wings hat.
You got the blacked out Red Wings hat. Yeah.
Nobody wanted to go to Pistons.
I got the Lions stuff. I'll be honest with you. I didn't have any issue, and we'll get into this, with the Pistons last night. I know they lost. That's okay. It happens, I thought they had really good looks, and they didn't make the looks. And sometimes that happens in basketball, Now, if that's a carryover tomorrow night to OKC, and then a carryover on Friday to Cleveland, there might be a a mild concern on my part after watching San Antonio last night, and I've watched them this year, but I sure as hell haven't watched them the way I've watched the Pistons. Just super impressed with the Spurs. Super impressed. So there's a lot of things we can get into, but you do have a pet peeve with the NBA, don't you? What is that pet peeve with what's going on in the National Basketball Association?
Do we have that video, Cam? We got the video. Okay, now look. NBA, I understand that you guys want to copy what works. This is a copycat professional situation as it relates to the 14
It's a copycat world.
Exactly. If it works for your league, it'll work for our league. It'll make our league look better. There is something. You don't have a video? Brendan didn't send it in yet. Well, all right. Well, when we get the video, we'll get the video. I sent the picture. Just put the picture up there, Cam. It's a picture of Jalen Brunson. My issue with the NBA is now when they do the player intros,
There it is.
they now do it like the NFL, where say name, say school, or high school, or G League, or whatever country you come from, and this is the new way they do the intros. Stop stealing from the some stuff you can't steal. My only issue with this is this: when you get the cats that do it in the NFL, when you say Aiden Hutchinson, University of Michigan, Jack Campbell, University of Iowa, like football is an aggressive sport. It's a physical thing. Also, they've been doing it for a very long time. Like, you're invested in these players. You know what schools they went to. You know what the player is. You're excited to see these 11 intros on offense, 11 intros on defense. When they do it in the NBA for these 5 players, are going to be the 5, because it's not like they're introducing 5 defensive players. It's the same players. It sucks. Like, it has no physicality to it. It has no moxie to it. It has no presence to it. When you look forward to watching those NFL intros, I want to see what they're going to say. I want to see what these dudes are. And also,
is he going to mention his high school instead of
100%
his university? Yeah.
And then you see some dudes, like when you see James Harrison do the intro, you're like, damn, he's gonna have somebody up. He's gonna jack somebody up. When you see
James Harrison, Kent State University,
1000%.
Golden Flash. Let me talk as long as I want.
What? Ray Lewis, who's like, University of Miami, you know, like things like that. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Or Charles Woodson,
Yeah.
you know the school.
Yeah.
Like, these are iconic moments. That moment's led to Key and Peele doing one of the greatest skits of all time. So I found out was it Charles Woodson. You know the school. NBA is weak, it's soft, it's corny. Like, most of these dudes didn't go to college at this point. Yeah, it's like G League Ignite, G League Extreme, G League this. Where is that even at? So I don't think this was something that they should have copied. It doesn't have the same feel of the NFL. And maybe I'm being biased because I played in the NFL, but
But if it I
don't like it.
So there's a couple things to this.
I don't
this
like
is
it.
First of all, this is the first I've seen it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I hope it's the last.
for bringing it. Okay, no, I mean it. I appreciate this.
Landry Shamet.
So the first thing is here's part of the reason they've done it. There's something
Carl
on the
Anthony
lower
Towns.
bottom, something on the bottom.
Oh my God.
Something on the bottom that means it's sold. So that's first.
Yeah. Oh,
second
yeah,
of all,
100%. Money on the
if it
floor.
works for the National Football League, why wouldn't it work for the NBA?
It's just not the same thing. It doesn't hit the same way. Like, I don't know. Like, basketball, you just go out there and play ball. Like, it doesn't have, like, look at that. He's not even into it. It's like something that they dragged him out of the locker room. Was like, hey, look, man, hurry up and get your player intro in for this Pistons game coming up.
Parents making their
Yes.
kids say stuff.
Like,
But do you not think the linemen look the same way? Because I think the linemen look the same way in the NFL. This is the last thing I want to do. This is a waste of my time. Let's hurry up and get this over.
the linemen
But
are more
also-
like meat and potatoes type attitude.
But this is okay. See, this is the other thing. First of all, as it relates to linemen, you get to see how big those dudes are. Pause. Like, when you're looking, you like, holy. When you're watching Quentin Nelson, you like, man, his
neck.
massive.
Yeah.
Look at the neck
Yeah.
on Panay Sewell.
Yeah.
Like, that's part of seeing the offensive line, and also what.
Myles Garrett with those arms.
Okay, here
just pan down a little bit so I can see, those
you still
tree
can
trunks.
see the traps.
Yeah.
You can see the traps on the shoulders. Also, too, in basketball, they don't play with helmets. So you don't need an introduction.
Well, that's a good point.
In football,
Yeah,
we
that's a
play
good
with
point.
helmet.
That's
So
a good
here's
point.
my face. Here's my mug, if you will.
Yeah.
And no mugshot.
That's the best point you've made right there. In football, they're covered up quite a bit. I mean, unless you're seeing the quarterback because he puts his hat on all the time. I don't know. Is this just a Knicks thing or is this the NBA?
No, it's the NBA. I just sent one graphic in terms of so you can
because I haven't seen it yet.
So you can see an example.
Where'd you get this?
I saw it this weekend. I was watching. I wasn't watching the Knicks. I think I was watching the Anthony Edwards game.
Okay.
Legit, and I saw it, and then I saw it on another one, the prime time, and this Knicks one is just the one I went.
You
to.
would rather just see the 5 starters against the 5 starters?
Yeah.
Do we really need to know where they played in
No.
college? Probably not, since a lot of these guys either only played 1 year, may have had 5 different teams in college. Same thing could be said for football, too.
This is true.
That's the thing that I've always been worried about. For as many skips and jumps as they may have in their college career, when they do the intro for Sunday Night Football, let's meet the Lions offense, and then boom, we get a guy who played 1 year at a school. And you're thinking, why didn't you name the other schools that you're associated with?
I mean, also, too, you're going to name the school that had the biggest name and where you had the most success. So if you played 5 years and you played at a bunch of nickel and dime institutions and where you made it big was Ohio State, I don't need to hear about Furman and James Madison and Ohio Bobcats. Just tell me you played Ohio State. I don't need to hear all that.
Well, they're going to mention the school they got drafted out of.
Yeah. And also, too, in the NFL, they've done a great job. You know what? King High School. Like, they'll find a way to implement something and say the high school they went to.
Sure.
So, but, I mean, this is just a –
So this is the first I've seen of it.
It would be like if we walked into an NFL stadium, I guess, and you heard them doing Mason-style intros, which is taking over the NBA. All-star announcers, other arenas, like within NBA, you hear people starting to inject a little bit of what Mason brought and made popular over, 20 years ago? Yeah. And so I kind of get you. It's like that's an NBA
and he got a little
thing.
bit of that from Ken Calvert, who was iconic with the Pistons at the Palace.
It was great hearing Mason.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the only great things about last night for the Pistons. Yeah. Hearing Mason on prime time over the stereo was cool.
I don't know. I thought it was one of those most entertaining, if not the most entertaining first half of basketball I've seen this year. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
It was. First half was.
Yeah, first half was great.
First half was great. First half was great. As it relates to the game, kind of how you said it, it happens. You face a team that you don't get a chance to face often. Sometimes things go awry. Shooting didn't work for K. I mean, it was a nightmarish shooting night for K. Got to call a spade a spade. We come up here and we talk so much and show so much love to him. Mm-hmm. When you have a night like that and you're in the MVP conversation consistently, it's just not going to cut it. Outside of Jalen Dorn, they just couldn't find that pace. Cade said that last night. They couldn't find the rhythm of the game. You saw that. I think in the second half they got too comfortable not having a half-court sets. Everybody was playing one-on-one basketball, trying to get to the rack. I think Cade didn't realize sooner to get other guys involved because tonight's not my night, or maybe get to the basket. I think Wemby scared some individuals a little bit from going to the basket. It was you can tell it was the first time we've played them and had a field to assess what the situation is.
I would just remind people that and San Antonio's playing really good basketball. Right, so they've won 9 in a row. But it wasn't long ago that they lost to New Orleans, who's got 16 wins, and lost to Charlotte, who's the 10 seed in the East right now. Now, San Antonio may have been without Victor Wembanyama, but when you look at those teams, you would think they would have some type of advantage either way, because they've got some really good balance. I thought they spaced the floor exceptionally well.
They got players over there, man.
They do. They're really good. Harper's really good. Cassell's pretty good.
Their third best player had an off night, and they still didn't need it, and that was De'Aaron Fox, who reminded us from time to time against Ryan Holiday, look, back up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really like that. He had 10 points, but 8 of those points were like, yeah, he's still really good.
So besides San Antonio really impressing me, the thing that I noticed more than anything else, and perhaps the most concerning thing that I noticed, not that we haven't already, but when Cade's having an off night, it is tough to make up for it. Jalen Duren was Detroit's best player last night.
Yeah.
And not because of his numbers, but because of his aggression. I'll be honest with you, I thought Cade Cunningham should have fouled out. I mean, if I'm the opposition, if I'm somebody who's watching that with an objective eye, you're like, hold on a second. I love the physicality.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I said it. I was watching with somebody and I said, this is what 1980s and 90s basketball is all about. I wish they'd bring it back. I love that. But when you openly shove a guy, and I'm not talking when he ran over, I think it was Castle. I'm not even talking about that. Earlier,
That was Johnson.
He
Him and
literally
Johnson got
literally shoved Victor Wembanyama.
And he fell down too.
And he fell down. And Wembanyama, as we all know, is a big guy. He's gotten more physical. You can tell. Look at his arms, right? But I thought for sure he was going to get. I thought he was going to foul out. You could tell that San Antonio frustrated the Pistons a little bit last night.
They definitely frustrated them because even though at halftime they were only up 2 points, and a lot of that was at the end of the second quarter, they just never seemed like they could find their footing. Every time they tried to make a run, every time they find a pace, Wembanyama and Spurs, they took it up a notch. They took the lead. They frustrated them on defense, both sides of the court, got easy buckets. They didn't miss any open looks, it felt like. It felt like everybody was on from the open look. The biggest thing for me, just looking at the game, breaking it down, and like you said, don't want to make too much, it's the third quarter.
Yeah.
Like the third quarter. I just wrote down some stats from the third quarter. Wemby had 4 of his 6 blocks in the third quarter. 29% from the field were the Pistons in the third quarter. Cade was 1 of 7 in the third quarter. 5 turnovers out of 7 happened in the third quarter. Like, they struggle. And then the Spurs, they finished the third quarter 83-75, and they used that 7-0 run in the fourth quarter. That third quarter is where they got the business done.
Yeah, no doubt. There were a lot of impressive things that the Spurs did that I'm sure Detroit's going to learn from that, no question. But it did lead to a lot of questions. Some fair, some maybe a slight panic on Pistons fans. One of the questions was Asar Thompson. Asar Thompson plays 4 minutes in the second half. He plays 18 minutes overall. He's your best perimeter defender. You could argue he's your best defender overall. I love that J.B. Bickerstaff wanted something done. Asar Thompson wasn't doing it, and he said, I'm going to lose to send a message to this young player and let everybody know in order for us to win these types of games, you've got to follow the script. And if you're not going to follow the script, I'll find somebody who does. So I have no problem with it whatsoever.
You asked me, what will this tell us? Like this second row, what are you looking for in this? What's going on? I said, now that we're here, now that you put this bullseye, can you take the distractions? Can you handle the moment? And part of what that moment is, Shep, not changing because you're playing Victor Wembanyama and a game that everybody is talking about on the national field. Now that I'm in this game, I have to change the way I play defense. I have to change the way I play offense. Or now I want to do some things that is selfish to what the type of basketball, the brand of basketball that got us here, that got us to the best record in the East, that got us to this best record, got me being talked about as somebody that could be an all-star in the future. Yesterday, he went completely away from that, and when reminded, stayed away from that. And to your point, J.B. Bickerstaff said, nah, not on my watch. We'll lose this game, but you'll figure out before we get to April that this is how we got here and this is how we'll get further. I agree 100%.
Yeah, I have no issue with how he handled it. But my question was this, and I think it's a fair one. I'm not saying he's a savior by any stretch, so don't take it out of context. But if you're struggling to shoot from the floor, and that's who Duncan Robinson is, and that's who Javonte Green is, and at times Cade Cunningham. I'll take most of Cade Cunningham's shots any single day of the week because I think he's going to make them. All right? So I don't have any problem with it. What's Kevin Huerter doing on the bench?
I don't even know what he's doing here, but
yeah, if he's a guy who's supposed to be able to stop a run with his three-point shooting, create some space, create some type of hopeful mismatch with a corner three or a wing three or whatever, how come he's not at least sniffing the floor? He's not even close to getting out there, right? So why is that? Now, I trust J.B. Bickerstaff to make the decision that he's made because he's the one who sees practice, and we don't. But in a game like that, when they're knocking down triple after triple, and you're getting in a further hole, and you need to respond, and your team is not being as aggressive as they usually are, although they did have 62 points in the paint, if you're swinging it around and Ron Holland's taking 6 threes and going 1 for 6, and it ain't his game, why not give it a shot? Are you worried about the defense, which would be legitimate too? I'm just wondering. I think it's a fair question to ask.
Definitely the Pistons, who are not necessarily a good three-point shooting team, settled for way too many threes yesterday. Now, answering your question, Chef, I'm not fully understanding. I don't know. I could make a suggestion. Kool-Aid, let me know what you think. I know you're connected. You're right there, boots on ground, as it relates to these Pistons. Trying to find what the system is for Kevin Huerter and not necessarily being a part of it. Like, he's not a starter. He's not James Harden, who's going to the Cleveland Cavaliers. You don't have that option of sitting him on the bench and letting him initially figure things out or giving him some time. I think here it's a different situation. JB, to your point, what he's saying in practice, not there yet. This is a big game for us. I want to see what the guys that I've been with thus far have. I think we get a better opportunity to attack this team without him tonight. And then when we play, I don't know, Orlando coming up, maybe he starts to try to find these spaces and where Kevin Huerter can work. Kool-Aid, am I in the ballpark?
Kool-Aid, what do you think of that? I mean, this is not Tolu Smith or Chaz Lanier, who's in his first year. This is a guy that you targeted to try and make your team a little bit better and shore up a weakness. What did you?
Part of me now is starting to believe that their main plan was to get from underneath that cap hit that was going to come with Jaden Ivey. Yeah. And I believe that you try to find what you think can pay you the biggest dividend as well.
Right.
But I'm almost starting to believe that when they told us we're not going to make a real material change to our team, that Kevin Huerter became an expiring contract that would give them flexibility. And if he works out, which he still has that opportunity, because working out for him means, can you go in there and be reliable to knock down 1 or 2 threes a game with the time that you're going to have at about 35% a game? You would like that to be a little bit higher, but that's about what I expect.
Yeah, he's running out of time doing it, too.
Though.
I mean, we're 56 games deep. You got OKC coming next. Then you got Cleveland. If he ain't playing against San Antonio, is he going to play against those two teams?
Yep.
So I think that's a fair question, too. And I guess I think you're right about that, 100%. But if this guy is not going to contribute at all, what's the point of him taking up a roster
I
spot?
get that, because for me personally, Jaden Ivey wasn't the player that we saw him be at the beginning of last year.
Correct.
But he was still shooting like 34, 35, 36% from behind the arc. And he was still able to do some things that Kevin Huerter is just not doing at all. And when you look at a game like last night, sometimes when the offense got stagnant and you need those guys who can kind of operate the way Ivey does, that to me was what was missing. You saw the Spurs, they didn't let our ball handlers get comfortable. They were pressing their defense up in opposite way. You know what they did? I noticed this game plan from the Spurs on both ends. On offense, it was make their guards uncomfortable, and on defense, it was don't let their defenders make you uncomfortable. So Vassell, Vassell, all the Fox, and they didn't wait. It's like as soon as the ball touched our hands, they were just
those guys are really impressive.
That's
a really
plan.
impressive basketball team on both ends of the floor. Yep. What they did defensively, and we brag about how physical Detroit is. Yeah. San Antonio said, "Bring it." They had no problem with the physicality
and
whatsoever.
And they didn't lose their identity while playing within that physicality. And for the Pistons, I think it's what Bray and you guys have intimated. It's the first time kind of seeing them this year. It's a little bit different team, a lot different team than what they were last year. And Wemby believes in who he is a whole lot more this year. So I think this was like a boxer kind of filling things out. Remember earlier in the year, we saw them get trounced by Cleveland and then come back, and they looked something different when they stepped out there on the court. I expect that with this next matchup. The second
in San Antonio.
In San Antonio. Look, because they got OKC next. Yeah. But I heard we got San Antonio in a week and a half several times in the press conference last night.
The good news
that stung them.
Yeah. Good news, no SGA, no Jay Will, no Caruso. So it won't be the same.
Can we get some Kevin Huerter minutes then?
100. Exactly. You asked before we left the studio yesterday. You was like, hey, look, the Pistons, they keep talking about they're number one because of the record. Like, do you believe they're number one in the regular season, or do you believe they're number one including the postseason? My answer was this. I said, I still like OKC. I like San Antonio. Right. And I said, I might even have Celtics, even with them, based off the winning pedigree, the championship pedigree that they have.
And you and I also said last week, the one team that is the biggest threat to Detroit in the East is Cleveland. Okay. So you've got 4 teams. I've got 5 because I throw Denver in there, even though they've been inconsistent. Not that they're better than the Pistons. Right. The teams that I can see challenge the Pistons. I don't, again, maybe I'm naive here. I have no problem with the way, in general, the Pistons played last night. I think Cade Cunningham makes those shots. I think Duncan Robinson makes more of those shots. I think even Javonte Green makes some of those shots. Doesn't mean that they're automatically going to beat the Spurs, but I do believe when you get those types of wide open looks, and they had some wide open looks, more oftentimes than not, they're going to knock those down. How often are we going to see Dennis Jenkins go 3 for 10? Cade Cunningham go 2 for 9 from deep and 5 for 26. It was awful. Duncan Robinson go 3 for 11 from downtown with a lot of good looks. We're not going to see that very often.
After a hot stretch from him, too.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
True. They started bad, though. Like, the Pistons started bad in the first as it relates to shooting. And many Spurs, they weren't good shooters early on in the year. They've hit a stride in the last month, but it hasn't been consistent the whole season. So is this who Dennis Jenkins is? Is this who Duncan Robinson is going to be moving forward? My concern is Wemby didn't even play his best game.
You're right.
My concern is their second best player to me, De'Aaron Fox. Maybe it's Castle, maybe it's Fox, but they go 2-3, 3-2, whatever. He didn't have his best game.
Yeah, maybe it's Harper because Harper's really good.
Harper's athletic and explosive. We saw
He
him
was
that
only
in the
2 for
dunk
7.
contest. So they didn't even play their best game, but we legitimately, especially second half, we were behind the whole second half.
It was those
and they
turnovers.
didn't play their best game.
16 to 16 turnovers for
Yeah.
both teams, but the Pistons
then elite
conceded
three-point
21 points off those turnovers in an 11-point game that was closer
Oh,
down the
I
stretch.
thought Detroit only turned
that?
San Antonio over 12 times.
Well, the final box score read 16. I thought it was lower than that.
I got
I thought San Antonio actually
Okay.
took care of the ball better, but for some reason the
I
box
just,
score
I
read
just
that.
don't want to mistake my, I want to make sure I'm getting the right information to people.
Yeah, but they gave up Pistons 21 points off of that in a tight game. That's probably the one thing I would say you got to clean up, and I think it's because San Antonio sped them up. That's what they were doing on defense, was speeding up the Pistons' offense, and it was making them, causing them to make some uncharacteristic mistakes while they're thinking Wemby's in the
So
paint.
here was my question to both you guys last night that nobody ever texted back. No, I'm just kidding. I'm wondering, did Detroit try to be too physical to try and establish that and let the other parts of their game flourish that we've noticed? Like, I love the physicality,
Right.
you know that. But it seemed to me like they were trying to make a point that we're going to bully this team and eventually they may cave, when just let that come natural, which is what they usually do. Did you get a sense of that at all? Or am I the only one? Okay.
I was about to sneeze. That's
sorry.
I was looking away. The sneeze will figure itself out. Maybe there was an element of that, because you definitely saw they were trying to be overly aggressive, even by their standards. It looked like it was we're trying to play outside a little bit to really prove, hey, this is what we are. This is what we're going to do. We're going to beat this team up, especially Victor Wembanyama. It really just looked like they were uncomfortable in trying to figure out how to play against the San Antonio Spurs all game long. Meanwhile, the Spurs knew after the third quarter or second quarter how to play them. It looked like they were just behind the 8 ball all game long. Here's another question. MVP.
Yeah, I knew this was coming.
And it has to, because it's a real conversation. We legitimately went not overboard, but we went as we were supposed to when they blew out the Knicks and Cade goes 42 and 13 and 8. The national appeal. Because the national appeal was like, all right, we want to see what these Pistons do when they play against the Spurs, they play against OKC. For Cade to have that type of game in that type of spot, is that going to hurt the MVP conversation?
I would think it almost enhances it.
Okay.
And that may sound strange,
I'll bite.
but because he played so poorly and they couldn't get over the hump, it shows you just how important he is. Now, does that mean that he's better than Victor Wembanyama? I don't think either one of us ever thought he was. Now, I think he's the best guard. It doesn't make him the best player. Victor Wembanyama might be the best player with Nikola Jokic. Cade Cunningham, to me, is still the most valuable player. I'm not going to change my mind after one game.
Yeah.
I expect him to respond. I think he will. I think he'll respond next time against San Antonio, which doesn't automatically mean that they're going to beat the Spurs by any stretch. Victor Wembanyama alters the game in so many ways without the basketball in his hands and with the basketball in his hands. He really is. They use the phrase alien. He really is an alien. You could tell the only guy who was not intimidated by him was Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren literally said, screw you, I don't care what happens. Now, Cade Cunningham, to his credit, had a few blocks himself, which I thought was really
Three
impressive.
of them boys, yeah.
But he seemed like he was preoccupied at times. And I thought one time where he went up for a shot and they blocked it, and it was a clean block. Yeah. And he started complaining, and I thought, uh-oh, that's a problem. He wanted the foul. He was begging for the foul, and usually he's not like that.
I saw that.
And that was a clean block. San Antonio, I thought, did exactly what the Pistons usually do to other teams.
Yeah, 100%. Like for the KD conversation for me as it relates to MVP, it's different for us and how we judge the metrics of MVP. For Cade to win MVP, he has to be perfect. Like him winning MVP, his second time as a playoff team this season, it has to be perfection. And last night is going to be an unfair blemish from the outside media, who already is trying to put
Guaranteed.
100%.
You are 100% right.
Yeah.
Anybody who's teetering on that fence.
Because you know what they're going to say. See?
Yeah.
See, I told you.
Here's what it came down to.
You guys were judging him too fast.
Here's what it came down to. It came down to Miami beat Notre Dame, and that's why they got into the college football playoff.
Thanks.
And when I look at when I look at the Pistons and I look at San Antonio, all I know is Victor Wembanyama went nuts, and he didn't even have his best game. And Cade Cunningham was stifled and frustrated. Yeah. That's what some national people might be saying. I wouldn't be saying that, but some national people who have a vote and are trying to figure out one from the other might use that game as some type of litmus test.
I thought overall Cade had a good game, though, outside of the shooting. There were some things I thought he had to get figured out, but when you look at the assist numbers, the rebounds, you look at 5 stocks, I thought he did his thing effectively. Obviously, the scoring is where you look at if he makes a few of those shots. I do think you're looking at a completely different game from the Pistons.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Yeah,
make
but he
the
didn't.
shots.
Yeah, I know.
You
So
can't be.
I
You
don't see
can't
how
But
you-
Wemby also was a guy who he didn't look himself on offense, but we will state he still affected the game in other areas. And I just wanted to highlight that I did believe from an assist standpoint game, from rebounding, from the stock standpoints, those are still all at his averages on the season, or if not better, in a game where a lot of the other people, Asar's defense didn't matter last night. That's a guy who,
Well, when you only play
If you-
4 minutes in the second half, it's tough to matter.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is true. Like I hear you, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I hear you. I know that's your boy. I know you're gonna lobby for him. I just got to disagree. 10 assists is not necessarily finding other people. If you can't shoot, find me 16 assists, 17 assists, 18 assists, and it's not impossible because you are an MVP type candidate. You got to light a little bit fire underneath your players. Just say I don't think he had lit enough fire under his players. He talked to the refs. He talked stuff to the Spurs. I don't know if he lit fire under his players. You cannot go 5 of 26 and you say it's still a pretty good game.
Yeah, that's
Victor
not.
Wembanyama found when it was time for him to find those points in the fourth quarter, he found them.
Yep.
He also had 17 rebounds. He also had 6 blocks, and he also provided a type of trajectory where you're like,
Man, he's,
probably can't get
he's
my shot
altering
up.
shots, man.
So-
he's changing mindsets
Yeah.
inside.
Mindsets.
There's
He
no
was
doubt
6
about it.
of
I think he had
16 for
11
the
points
game,
in the
though.
fourth
We
quarter.
gotta be honest about that. 6 of 16, and he only made maybe a bucket or 2 in the fourth.
And Cade
Yeah, I
was
know,
5
but
of
if you're gonna-
26.
It was a bad shooting night.
If you're
That's
gonna
what I'm saying.
use 6 for 16 against him, part of his job too is to find a way to get to the free throw line. Okay, if you're going to use that as a some
Yeah,
type
8
of
free
reflection
throw
on him,
attempts.
and he went 7 for 8. So
Yeah.
if you're going to use that as a reflection, you've got to use the same criteria for the guy we're
I-
bragging
no,
about
I
should be
do.
the MVP.
I don't think either one of them had the offensive game you want to see. K had a bad offensive game from a shooting standpoint, but
He
from
did. It was a bad
point
game.
guard standpoint. I thought K kind of from a defensive standpoint, from messing it up in the rebounds, like how we do with Wemby. We're going to call out the other components.
look,
he has.
here's the thing, and this is okay.
Yeah.
When you've reached his status, he's a great player. And I don't use that word very often. He's an all-world player. There's no other point guard. There's no other guard I'd rather have on my team than Cade Cunningham. That's a high bar to raise. He's raised it. He's the one who set the standard. And he didn't play up to the standard last night.
Oh, no, he didn't.
That's okay because it happens, all right?
Yeah.
The greatest players in the world have not always been the greatest player on every single night. That's really hard to do. So
Yeah.
he didn't play well last night.
Yeah, I don't
period.
disagree with that.
Okay?
I thought he did play well, but not on offense. I think that from a shooting standpoint, the stats say what they say. I saw the effectiveness. I saw the defense he employed. I'm not going to erase the effectiveness of that to try and prop up Wemby
So
in
you're,
any
you're
way.
telling me defensively,
Like, it was-
Castle went 7 for 16, Vassell went 10 for 14. Are you telling me that he didn't guard those guys at all last night? And that's
he
a
was
good
matched
defensive?
up more with Fox. He was matched up more with Castle in some instances.
Okay.
And he
Castle
also
went off.
drew some, and he also drew some wing assignments as well.
Right.
Yeah,
I
and
feel
Durham went off as well. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I understand what you guys are saying, I agree largely. I'm just saying I believe some of the same things can be when you're talking about because the question was about MVP. And for me, if it's just about that shooting performance, that can shake a voter's confidence even nationally, while they can say, well, it doesn't really matter what Wemby shoots because we saw him do this from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah,
I think that we're changing
we didn't say that.
the narrative a little bit.
He found a way to score. It's not about shooting, it's scoring. He found a way to score and help his team. Unfortunately, Cade Cunningham didn't. What do you think Cade Cunningham, because of the lack of support he gets, what is the most important attribute he brings to this team?
I think playmaking. Overall leadership and playmaking.
You guys can talk till you blue in the face. At the end of the day, when you try to tell me last week, which we talked about and which we're continuing to talk about, how good of a player is and what he is, 16 points ain't cutting it.
Right.
Especially when you shoot 5 of 26. So Kool-Aid, I love you, but I don't care about how he has affected the game a little bit over here, and he had a couple steals over here, and he had a block. His team got cracked in the third quarter. And where was the offense from him? Where was him getting to the line? Because when you see your team can't bring it and you MVP type caliber player, like MVP caliber players don't score 16 points when nobody else on their team can score. They find a way to 23 and still take the L. They find a way to get to the basket. They find a way to get to the free throw line and have 12 attempts, 13 attempts. I'm just saying, 16.
I've seen it, but I will digress for the sake of the show.
You can keep going.
I've seen stars do it. That's what I'm saying. We've seen the Pistons beat good teams this year where they take their star players, who we will say are still MVP caliber, put them in a body bag, and ship them off wherever their next game is. We change the narrative like the national media does with Detroit. I just choose not to. I look at the box score. I don't think we changed the media.
I don't think we changed the narrative at all.
I think outside of the effectiveness of shooting, I thought that he had a decent game.
What other MVP like player have they put in a body bag and shipped them off to the next one?
I mean, we can go through it, but there
go
are some
ahead.
guys who didn't have some. I have to go through the box score.
Who did they do?
We can go through the box score.
I'm just asking. In the MVP, they haven't played Shai Gilgeous-Alexander yet.
If you want me to go through and look at it, I can go through and look at the things. I know what they've done to the Boston Celtics. I know what they've done to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Donovan Mitchell didn't play that well.
He's not an MVP candidate.
I know what they've done to the Denver Nuggets this year as well.
Jaylen Brown went off against Detroit. Okay?
One of those times.
All right, one of those times. Donovan Mitchell's not an MVP candidate. You said MVP candidate. There's only 5 guys who are being mentioned as MVP candidates. They haven't played Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What did they do to Nikola Jokic, Jaylen Brown, Cade Cunningham, and maybe Luka Doncic? No, thank you. So I don't think they've taken MVP candidates and shipped them off in a body bag at all.
If we were going to take it and put it to those top 2 or 3, maybe not. If you take it to those top 10 players in the league, we've seen the Detroit Pistons go out there and do that.
Yeah, they kicked the crap out of Jalen Brunson. I agree with that. 100%.
Yes. And Karl Anthony Towns and a lot of the people that were sitting at that All-Star game. I think that type of stuff matters.
Yeah. And I thought you said MVP candidate. I just wanted to get clarification. 100%.
I'm a cool the conversation down. I would just say this. If we're going to mention Cade Cunningham in a different light, then we got to keep him in a different light. We can't go from MVP top 3 and now we're comparing him to these 3 to when you have a bad night, we're now dropping what we're comparing him to and say, well, look what we did to Jalen Brunson. Look what we did to Donovan Mitchell. Look what we did to insert player that's 10 to 15 in the NBA. We got to keep it to the high bar.
Jaylen Brown was 11 of 28. 11 of 28 against the Pistons. That's all I'm saying.
What did he finish with?
32. 11 of 28.
32, though.
32.
But that's what I'm stating. So then how do you choose to look at the stats?
How does he talk about 10
assists, 6 rebounds,
this goes back to what I asked you before.
Stocks.
This is what I asked you before. You said leadership and playmaking. He needs to score for this team to be effective. It's as simple as that. Well, he does.
When I do bring that up and I say I want to see a 30 and 10 type Cade, I'm told by people at this network and people outside this network, no, that's too selfish for Cade. That's not the type of players that are taking my risk. I agree with that. I want to see him score that.
Okay. I have not heard it from this show. Yeah. Okay. Not from this show. I can promise you that. We know this guy has to take volume shots. We also know he's the best guard in the world. And because he had an off night, it happens.
Yeah.
There's no panic button being pushed here. Because he had an off night, his team probably had an off night.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say the same thing that I continue to say. I understand an off night. I do. Yeah. They happen. Shoot, I played league. I had off nights. I had off days. I had off Sundays. It comes with the territory. But when you're talking about a guy that is a catalyst for his team, and we've been arguing, do they even have another number 2? So in situations like last night, when he's not having this good game, somebody can rise to the occasion. We've had these conversations. You know that 16 points ain't enough. And I use ain't for effect. You know 16 points in his position, what he's carrying on his back is just not cutting it. Because anybody that we say has been top 3 in MVP from this season going back 15 years, they're not dropping 16 when the team needs them if it's all that's there.
It's a heavy load. I don't care how he gets it. I just need to get him to at least
I don't care if you shoot 40 free throws like D-Wade, no 6.
Go right ahead. I don't care.
He ain't going to get it, though.
Well,
It's a little bit different for him.
It is a little different.
He did get a couple calls yesterday because realistically, like Shep said, he should have fouled out. And J.B. Bickerstaff having him in there for so long with 4 fouls, he was able to, and I give Cade some credit to your point, he was able to be aggressive without being aggressive, finding spots, do some good things. You see, like when he was playing defense on Castle, he moved out of the way so Castle fell down as opposed to pick up a foul. He did those things. However, like it was a tough situation, man.
Meanwhile, you got a guy 25-14, Jalen Duren, who has a chance to become the 7th player in NBA history to average 20 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, and shoot better than 60% from the floor. The others, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Wilt Chamberlain. That's pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah.
What did he show you last night?
He showed me he's a fighter, much like Ben Johnson. Much like Ben Johnson, who's been doing this for a very long time at a very high rate. Ben Johnson is the fighter, so let him fight for you. Whether it's a settlement or a verdict, doesn't matter because he wants all the smoke. And then we get all the smoke, he will get you the deserving case results that you need. Ben Johnson, benfights.com.
Hey, we know Art and Jake's is your go-to great sports bar because of the atmosphere, the food, and the drinks and the company. Well, don't forget, they're also the premier sponsor for the Romeo Lions Club St. Baldrick's Festival that takes place Saturday, March 14th. It's closing in now, just a few weeks away. An incredible event that helps fund childhood cancer research. How do you get involved? Easy. You go to romeosb.com or scan the QR code to get to Art and Jake's right there on the screen.
Best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new face, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shaq Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Like a frostbite straight from the divine. Cold rush on my skin feels so fine. Muscle freeze, he's a ache. No side effects, no mistake. Chill Sub-Zero, icy and true. Feel the chill. It's all for you. It's not magic, just science play. Chill Sub-Zero.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball. Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
Planet Fitness is for everyone. Over 2,700 clubs nationwide and 50 plus here in Metro Detroit. Access to the Black Card Spa where you can recover with the hydro massage and other innovative amenities is available. Remember, we're all strong on this planet, and the planet is Planet Fitness. No judgment here. It's no judgment zone.
Sundays in Detroit, really every day that ends in a wine. Detroit got smoother with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea and Woodward Sports. Real vodka, real iced tea, no bubbles, just a clean, crisp sip. That's not going to fill you up on game day because it's only 100 calories. This season, let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser and Woodward Sports, and please drink responsibly.
And we back.
Back in the building. The NFL Combine is locked and loaded.
I'm excited for that. Look, real quick before we dive into that, I'm not going to apologize for our belief that Cade Cunningham's the best player in the league and that we expect high things from him. Expect the same thing out of Tarek Skubal. We've said the same thing. We've said the same thing for Jared Goff. We've said the same thing for just about any athlete who is elite in this market. For people to whine in the chat and get all butthurt because we actually want something a little bit more for our superstar player, who we've said is the best player in the league and the MVP, and act like we're moving goalposts, you could not be more wrong. Period. Okay.
It's crazy. I can't come up here. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we can expect more out of just everybody else. I mean, the referee stuff is a fair critique. He gets to the line the same amount as Jaylen Brown. All right, but Jaylen Brown shoots more than Cade Cunningham. I have no problem, as I said, if you are actually listening, but you're probably hearing and not listening. I have no problem with the shot selection from Cade Cunningham, none whatsoever. I'd take those over again tomorrow night against OKC, because I think he's going to make most of them.
Yeah, and he got a couple that rimmed down and rimmed out, so they were good shots. They were on target. I understand that. You can't say anything in this city about anybody that they love.
I know. It's
like,
unbelievable.
Jesus Christ! All we do on this show is championing your Lions players, championing your Red Wings, championing your Tigers and your Pistons. We say one thing because I also call it like I see it.
Yeah.
And for the guys in the chat and the girls in the chat, they're gonna be like, "Well, Jokic has 18 and 16. Yeah, he also has 18 rebounds and 12 assists behind that 18 and 16."
Yeah. It's crazy how some of these people, it's just, they get so offended if you actually have an opinion like, Shep doesn't know ball. And I only called it for 20 plus years. Talk to coaches, talk to players.
Yeah.
Sorry that I wasn't an NBA All-Star, but you're going to listen to other people who don't have that type of experience. Go right ahead. Okay, go right ahead. Yeah. Okay, you got to, ball don't lie. Okay, whatever. It's
the
amazing.
ball didn't fall last night for the Pistons.
The ball didn't fall. Okay, as we said, we still think they're the best team in the East. We still think he's the best guard in the world. But Sorry if we actually wanted something a little bit more from our superstar. You lower the bar, we raise the bar, you get all butthurt, you're afraid to offend somebody, and we're not. Okay. Not here to be friends with athletes. We're here to hope that this team and other teams become champions. That's what we're here to talk about. And by the way, we also talk objectively. Yeah. Instead of being in their back pocket, we talk objectively about it. We are not worried one iota about the Pistons, nor are we worried one iota about Cade Cunningham, who should be on the Olympic team in 2028, and dare I say, an assistant captain if you handed those things out from like they do in hockey.
I don't necessarily think if the stance is opposite, that is people capping or trying to be for the players and trying to be friends. Like I legitimately believe
constant.
in my stake, brother.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about a lot of people out there. They feel like, yes, we can be friends with these guys because we don't want to offend them. And if we offend them, they're going to hate us. And that's not the case because they understand it. I'll guarantee you, Cade Cunningham went home. He's driving home last night going, I've got to be better. So he can think it, but if we say it, we're haters. It's a joke.
No, I agree with you. Needs to be better.
Yeah.
Needs to be.
Right. Everybody has bad nights.
We got a couple super chats too.
It's only 2 players on this. It's only one player in this city that you can openly criticize and people won't get pissed at you. And that's Javier Baez. Because everybody else, like everybody else that I've mentioned, it is
I don't know. Centerfield Javier has some stands, man.
Yeah, but then as soon as he gets to the plate, you're like, there it is.
Yeah.
Or there it's not.
I would say Riley Green. People hate on Riley Green, okay, because of the strikeouts. We've talked about that a little bit.
Riley opened his mouth.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
You got to forget about the strikeouts. Ooh,
yeah.
I don't know about that, Riley.
The strikeouts don't matter.
Yeah.
Probably bad choice of words. Kool-Aid, go ahead with the super chats.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Charles with the $2 super chat. He says, Cade's still MVP. You can have off nights.
Mm-hmm.
And he also says, everyone just mad we lost. It is that simple. Losing doesn't help anything. I can definitely tell you.
Absolutely not. Yeah. It doesn't help a damn thing, and it hurts when you see opposing teams' best player post certain numbers and your player doesn't. Because let's face it, just like us, we want validation from our players. So if I'm on social media against the Knicks and I say to the national media, okay, be quiet now, stop talking about New York, start talking about the Pistons. Cade Cunningham is the MVP, and we've known that for a month. 2 things that I did say after they beat the Knicks. Then I've got to be ready to take the repercussions back from people outside this market, although it sounds like there's a lot of people inside this market too, that feel otherwise.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, that's just kind of the way it works. Big day today in the NFL in the sense of it is combine. Did you go to the combine when you graduated Michigan?
I did.
Okay. Ooh. What did you do while you were there, and can you give us a sense of what that experience is like?
Certainly. I trained for the combine in Denver when I was getting ready out there with my agent, Lamont Smith. Shout out. And, got ready, did all the things. I didn't focus as much on upper body, but I'll get to that later. It was cool. Focused on that. Got there. I actually had an ingrown toenail like 3 days before I went and got it removed. And so, my agent was like, I don't know if we're going to have you run. I was like, nah, it's not going to bother me. I'm going to run. Fast forward, get there. And this is kind of what you expect when you get to the combine. Land at the combine, and you go in there, you get your bags, get associated, you get your numbers, you get your packages, you get your registration, get all that taken care of. Then you have a meeting. You have the team meeting with all the players that have been invited to the combine. You go in this big room. I still remember this conversation. You remember Chris Ricks?
I don't. Oh, wait, the
Florida State.
Yeah,
Florida State.
Yeah.
So I got a Bentley coupe before the combine, which wasn't smart, but I got it before the combine. It's like an article in USA Today, like, man, people are always in your business. But so when I saw Chris Ricks, we're at the airport, we're jumping on the shuttle together. He had his Louis Vuitton garment bag, his Louis Vuitton carry-on, his Louis Vuitton duffel bag, and had all these things. When we get to the team meeting, I guess it's not a team meeting, but the players' room, the player meeting. Troy Vincent led the meeting, who's president of the NFLPA. Chris Ricks goes out of his way to ask a question while everybody's there, like, did Braylon bring his Bentley? I'm like, That's what we doing, Chris?
Yeah.
So
why would you bring that up?
Meanwhile, I just saw you. Like you didn't say shit when I was riding in the shuttle from the airport. You didn't say anything then, but now you say something. So I just politely said, because I'm from Detroit, if I was Chris, I wouldn't worry about what Braylon's driving. I'd worry about getting drafted.
Ooh, that's sharp.
And guess who didn't get drafted that year?
Chris Ricks.
But anyway, I digress. So basically, you have
what was his response, if at all?
Everybody just laughed, and then Troy like sped through to kind of like ease the awkward tension.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna come for me, then I got something for you.
Amen. Right.
But after that night, you go to your room and you just kind of start thinking about the process. Man, I couldn't sleep, even though I was a last minute decision. I couldn't sleep. I was like running around the hallway trying to see if my leg was gonna be all right or my foot was gonna be all right to go. It starts early that next day, though, Chef. 6 a.m., they're waking you up. You got to do drug tests. You go from that. Then once drug tests are over, you go to meetings in the morning. That meeting process lasts forever. That was yesterday. And then also you go to who's hurt. So now you got to go to the hospital. Hospital takes forever. Then you come back from the hospital. You have impromptu meetings for lunch at the train station. You're going through this. Then you start the interviews, which if a team wants you and they have you, 15 or 20-minute interviews, you got to go in there. You got to do film, and you got to talk about plays, talk about your position, talk about this, talk about that, talk about adversity. Those are 20-minute rooms. And then you have more impromptu meetings. And then the next day is when you start. The next day they start calling individuals to do certain things, start calling groupings. It's a process.
When you say they're calling, who is it? Various teams are calling? How's that work?
No, it's just like in terms of calling to the pro. It's the people inside, indoors, Lucas Field, where you'll be active. Okay. It's just the coaches calling you out there. Like, it is designed to be chaos and be annoying to see if cream rises to the crop. Because you see a lot of guys that become nervous. A lot of guys just become frazzled. A lot of guys, after these meetings, they don't necessarily have the makings or what it takes. And you see guys go out there and do things that they wouldn't do, drop passes, jump off sides. They don't run as fast as they were supposed to run. They don't jump as far as they're supposed to run. The three-cone, they can't get their technique. They can't. That's a real thing. It's the chaos of those 5 days. They're trying to see who's going to be able to perform when we're putting them through all these
What's the
things.
level of nervousness there?
Just depends. Like, I wasn't nervous. I was born for this. But it's real. When you
I like that.
Appreciate it. Put the RAS stuff up there, if you will. It just depends. Like, for me, I didn't have any of that. By the time I got to the combine, I was, number one wide receiver in my mind. Mm-hmm. I was like top 7 in all mock drafts, if you will, at that time. And I think I was good, but I can't speak for other people.
Yeah.
My temperament was cool.
So what are the things that you decided you were going to do, and what are the things you didn't do, and why?
All right, put up that mock draft, and I'll go back real quick. The reason why we decided ultimately not to do anything outside of bench press was every mock draft that came out from like January 5th or 7th until that point, it had me as like the number 1 receiver, except Mel Kiper. Mm-hmm. This was Mel Kiper's March mock draft of 2005. He's got Dan Cody, Lions 9, Commander Mike Williams. Like, once this came out, I was like, all right. Even Mel now has me number 1. So at that point, me and my agent said it didn't make sense. The only reason why I did the bench press is because I wanted to do something that would wow him. And I did 22. That was the most for a wide receiver.
That's 225, 22 times.
I've done like 35 when I was in college, but 22. Did not lift any weights while I was training. So, yeah. But then you could put the RAS stuff up. I didn't even know what a RAS was until
I didn't know he had Aaron Rodgers third.
Until
that's
recently. Yeah, he did.
Very interesting. Yeah.
He was right. And then this was the combine stuff. So vertical jump, 38. He lied. Short cone, nothing crazy. But you see what that RAS ultimately is, 995.
Relative athletic score, what does that take into account? So it's taking just the things you've done or the things you could do?
No, it's taking the things that you did test-wise. So it's taking your vertical, your broad, your short, your three-cone, and that's going to be your explosion. Like, how explosive are you? And you're running routes, getting in and out of breaks at the top of the route, catching passes, jumping over people, etc. Then you go over to speed. Speed speaks for itself. And then that's just the different types. That's what did you run in the 40-yard dash? What was your first 10 yards? What was your first 20 yards? And then what was the overall 40? that was a combination. They lied about mine, but you know what? It is what it is.
Stephen Wild said Bray is a unit.
It was 4.38. It was 4.38, 4.41, and then we ran it on the track, and so they like boosted it up like 0.4 of a second to get there. Bench press, you see what that is, and then you see what they did in my height.
I did. That's one of the first things I noticed right up there. They got you at 6'2",
That's because legitimately, like when you go up in there and they're
6'2",
and they're doing the height, they're measuring the height. They're like compressing your neck to where it like shrinks down into your shoulders. I'm like, so is this my real height or is this my real height? Stop pressing my neck down. So, but it is a fun, interesting experience, and I think it's the competition level. Like when you're bringing guys there that have heard about guys all for 4 years, a little bit different now with social media, et cetera, but you've heard about, Mike Williams or Cadillac Williams or Ronnie Brown or Aaron Rodgers or Alex Smith or, whoever you
First time getting to know those guys at all, or do you get to know them at all?
You get to know them, but like it's still it's in the air. Now you see somebody who's like, hey, what's up? It's like, yeah, what's up?
So you're performing, you decided, were you running routes, catching footballs at the combine?
No.
Okay.
I decided to do.
You did that on a private workout, or you didn't do it at all?
Yeah, I did pro day.
Okay, you did it on pro day.
I did pro day, which is the U of M.
Do you think the combine is worth something these days, considering most big names are using their own pro day to work out for scouts?
Nah. Like the only thing now for the combine is one, the shock value, which is somebody coming in there that you may know a little bit about and doing something crazy. Like somebody, here's a wide receiver. Yeah, I heard a little bit about him. He's out of Ole Miss and nothing crazy. And he goes out there and runs 4.2.
Yeah.
Well, now it's like, he's on the radar. So like if you have a shock value, like if you're an offensive lineman that's in the middle of the pack and you can lift 49 on the 225, sure. Like if you have something that you're gonna do that's gonna shock the crowd, make them watch you, or if it's something like, hey man, like this guy drops a lot of passes and you're like, I need to catch passes, I need to do this, maybe you want to do that. But when you're guys that's mentioned in that top 25 all season long, 2 years long, you don't really need it.
So when you're doing the combine or you're doing your own pro day, is it a comfort? Is it a fact that you're in your building that you're used to playing, somebody else is throwing you the football? I mean, what's the whole belief in that comfortability aspect of it?
Nah, it's intense. It was intense. Like legitimately, I understand that Oosterbaan Fieldhouse at the time no longer there, but when we were in Oosterbaan, yes, this feels like home. Yes, I've had many a practice in here. Yes, I've had Chad throw me passes over here or John Navarro over here. But when you get out there and there's Nick Saban, who's the head coach of Miami, and he's with I can't think Stephen Ross. When he's with Stephen Ross and he's with his whole squad, and then you have all the Cleveland Browns over here. Then you have all the Vikings over here, Mike Tice at the time. Then you have all insert team, and you're now looking at 200 people in the field house with watches, with backwards hats, with cones, watching and eyeing everything you did.
Logos on there, quarter zips, or quarter zips rather.
Because Shep, is just not about going out there and running. How did he look when he was running? How did he look when he was getting around the cones? It's not just about running routes. How low were the hips? How low was he able to sink those hips? When he put the knee in the ground, did he overexert? Is he going to do something that's going to give the DBs a tell? When he's catching passes, did it look clean? Was it a clean catch? Like, it ain't just about catching the pass. Is it a clean catch? Did he do the three things and tuck it?
How about the interview aspect at the combine? Aren't a lot of teams bringing you into rooms and going through various questionnaires that they have for you?
Yeah, 100%. There's two ways. There's impromptu, which means if you're in a train station and you're just passing for lunch or getting to the next room or doing something and you don't have anything, a coach can grab you and say, hey, Braylon, sit down. My name is Todd Haley from blah, blah, blah. Side note, Todd Haley sat me down, wanted to have a conversation. We had a conversation. He was like, I was watching your films. You got a lot of work to do as a big wide receiver. I don't think you do this well. I don't think you do this well. I don't think you do that well. I finally said, what do you think I do well? He was like, well, you go up and get the ball well. I was like, let me ask you a question. What pick do you have? He was like, oh, well, we're picking 12. I said, well, I won't be there, so I'll see you later. But that's also what you have the power to do at impromptu means. When you get in that room.
Why would a guy start that conversation that way?
Because everybody knows Ty Haley's a dick. He's always been that.
All right.
When you get in those rooms, like the conversation, like this is where you sell yourself. Like these rooms, Those interviews, that's where Brad Holmes, that's where Dan Campbell, that's where they're trying to interview the next Jahmyr Gibbs, the next Amon-Ra St. Brown, the next Jack Campbell. This is where their temperament. They want to know, how smart are you? They want to know if you're a team guy in so many ways. They get there. And they're not just asking you questions, hey, are you a team guy?
Yeah.
They're finding ways to have conversation. They're finding ways to trip you up. They're finding ways to see if you're intelligent about what you're doing. Because there's a lot of wide receivers, I won't say any names, in this era where they struggle with the board part. They struggle with the board part. You'll watch the integration of the wide receiver. It takes a little bit longer because all they're doing in college is running go routes.
Yeah.
Or slant routes or deep overs. So when you get in those rooms and you're like, well, they just let me run go routes. This is why you go from being a top 7 prospect to why did he slide to 31?
Can you change it the other way like Isaac Tesla did a year ago where you said he was not a guy outside the numbers.
Yeah.
He wasn't even their number one option. How does a guy like that go into a room and impress besides anything that he might have done on the field, but being up in the boardroom and jumping on the board and kind of going over film?
Well, that's why you got to go in there and be humble. You got to go in there and be humble and just talk about wanting to learn, wanting to be that. I can be that. I am a sponge. When I went to
Be the man.
you got to be the man. This is true, too. But when I went to, what school did Isaac Tesla go to? Arkansas?
Arkansas, yeah.
So when he's at Arkansas,
After
he's
Hillsdale,
like,
yeah.
100%. He's like, well, I learned this at Hillsdale. I learned this at Arkansas. Everywhere I'm going, you saw my trajectory got a little bit better, a little bit better. I can be this wide receiver. I'm more than just a physical specimen. You know, if you show, and then this is where, all right, we'll put you on the board. What does it look like playing X? Here's a play. Design this. Why would we looking to you on this play? Why would we go away? Things like that. You sell yourself in the room. If you can do it on X's and O's, people tend to rock with you.
Love that, man. How intimidating is that? But you know, you're a film hog anyway, so that had to have benefited you a great deal.
Yeah, Soup, man, Eric Campbell. Like I watched a lot of film with Soup. See, boy, you ain't doing it right. He's supposed to stick. He's supposed to tell him on the outside. But so yeah, having that and being able to go in that room, it was it's pretty.
How many teams brought you into the room and you had to go over that film?
49ers, Giants, Lions, Dolphins, Eagles, Vikings, Titans,
Browns.
No Browns.
Really?
That's why to this day I just don't know how it happened. Like I didn't talk to the Browns there. I didn't talk to the Browns during my workout.
That's interesting.
Although they were there,
yeah.
I didn't talk to the Browns like after pro day, after combine is when you start doing visits. Didn't talk to him then. There was no conversation until pick 3 was on the clock and Romeo Cornell called me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unique. It's happened with other teams and other players for sure. But that's an interesting one with you that they didn't even bring you in during the combine. Absolutely no indication that you were the guy.
And it made sense too. Like I tell you a story all the time. Like they wanted a defensive player, they wanted a defensive line, they wanted one of the edge guys, etc. But the owner wanted me. It makes sense now when I look back that there was no conversation at all.
A lot of people in the chat very impressed with the number of reps on the bench.
Yeah.
225 pounds, 22 times. So,
the strength and conditioning coach who used to do it at the combine, his name was John Lott. Lott was the guy at the combine, blonde haired, and he ended up being the strength and conditioning coach. Guess what? For the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So exactly when I was doing this, he was like, "Come on, like I know, like you got another rep. What the bull piss?" So I'm just listening to him talk. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, he's got an interesting vernacular. Like I've heard this vernacular before. Fast forward, I get drafted by Cleveland Browns, and he's in there. He said, "Like I know, what's up, pup? Come on, you gonna be my new pup?" And he's just talking, and like I know, and bull piss. And I'm like, somebody else. Then he made a mistake and said, he said, "Look, when you get here, we're gonna open up a can." I was like, "Do you know Stone Cold Steve Austin?" Come to find out, John Lott was Stone Cold's college roommate.
Come on,
for a year. And when I
started talking like him.
When I tell you he's built like him, the only difference is his hair one ball. I was like, yo, like, but to be able to be that spot on, I was like, I watched too much wrestling.
So did obviously you guys talked a lot about that.
1,000%.
All right.
And then I got a chance to meet Stone Cold, and I validated it.
That's
so
funny.
I was like,
that's really
all right, he
good
wasn't
stuff.
lying. Cool.
That's a good story. Good story, Tom. I appreciate that. There we go. We're going to take a quick time out. Brad Holmes is at the combine and talking. Dan Campbell's at the combine, and he's talking. we've got some of their message for you when we come back on the Braylon Edwards Show after this from Massage Chair and Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hey, let's rock. And I know you guys want relaxation. I walked into the studio today, and who was in the Osaki Premium? It was none other than Shep, the man. So if you guys want to look to take your relaxation to the next level like that, scan our QR code to get a jump on his info. And make sure you visit the Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills. It is the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest. You got to experience the difference with Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doc, and creator of the #1 YouTube channel for massage chair reviews at The Wellness Doc. Book your visit today, massagechairhouse.com, or simply scan the QR code on your screen. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
Nice day out, isn't it, man? Sun is out there. It's starting to warm up just a little bit. Well, Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning, whether it's cold or whether it's warm, has a way to help you get warmer during the cold days, get cooler during the hot days, right? So they have everything you possibly could need when it comes to expertise and making sure your heating system or cooling system runs safely and efficiently. If your system ever breaks down unexpectedly, Sharon's has you covered with fast, dependable emergency service just when you need it most. And they make it really easy for you. Go to Sharon'sHeating.com or call them at the number 734-238-3805. Tell them the Braylon Edwards Show sent you.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new faith, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Like a frostbite straight from the divine. Cold rush on my skin feels so fine. Muscle freeze, the ache. No side effects, no mistake. Chill sub-zero. Icy and true. Feel the chill. It's all for you. It's not magic, just science play. Chill sub-zero.
It's game on at Art & Jake's. Wings, burgers, pizza, and ice-cold drinks served up with attention to detail. Wall-to-wall TVs, great service, and a vibe that keeps your crew coming back. Art & Jake's, a sports bar setting with a fine dining flavor.
Get your bets in. Pistons back on the hard court tomorrow night. And then our Red Wings back in action from the Olympic break Thursday. You can place any bet up to $1,000, and if you lose, you get that bet back. All you gotta do, scan this QR code, enter the code Woodward1000, and if your first bet doesn't hit, you get that deposit back right back up to $1,000. That's right, one whole stack back just for giving it a shot. Minimum bet $20. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app today, the official sportsbook of Woodward Sports. Use code Woodward1000. Scan the QR code on the screen.
Michigan State round 2 is right around the corner, and the place to watch it is Art & Jake's. And the way to celebrate either a win for Michigan or a win for MSU, depending on who you're rooting for, is with Sam Adams Cherry Wheat. At Art & Jake's, you get $5 shorts of Sam Adams Cherry Wheat, which is also made with real Michigan cherries, every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Check it out today It's really cool, it's really smooth, and it is really tasty. Sam Adams, Cherry Wheat. Please drink responsibly.
And we back.
You're asking about the combine. Here's a funny story.
Yeah.
As it relates to when we first got there. So like day 2, when we're first kind of gathered. No, it was night 1 before the players meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how it is, like in any sport. Like the ones kind of gather together. Like if you look at the list of who's projected to be top 25, like those guys kind of find each other. If you're doing something in the NBA, the top 5 lottery guys are gonna be around each other. It just happened.
Right. So
we're sitting at this table, and it's me, it's Ronnie Brown, it's Cadillac, it's Mike Williams, Marlon Jackson, who obviously shout out to University of Michigan, is my DB. One of the reasons why I was able to be so good at Michigan, like he was going against him every day was a problem. But it's a bunch of guys at the table. Erasmus James is at the table. Justin Tuck is at the table.
Sure.
New York Giants. And we're just sitting there. Sean Merriman was at the table. And we're all just sitting there. We're having a conversation. Everybody's talking about their school, talking about et cetera, what they're going to do. And then there's this big dude. You know, back in the day, like I told you, it's no social media, so you're not necessarily understanding what everybody looks like. And he just starts talking. He said, man, I can't wait to get out there and show him what I'm gonna do, man. Well, he was like, man, what you play? He was like, play running back. He said, I'm about to go out there tomorrow. I'm gonna run a 4.5. He said, I'm gonna run a 4.4. And he did run 4.5. I think he ran 4.51, 4.52. When he said it, we all like, ain't no way in hell this brother gonna run 4.4. He ran 4.51, and that dude was Brandon Jacobs. When I tell you,
wow.
He was ridiculously, like, when you see him and you think running back, like, it was Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry, but the difference is, I told you about Derrick Henry. I will meet Derrick Henry in the hole and have no problem that I think I'll win. I may lose, but I don't have that problem. Brandon Jacobs, business decision.
Yeah,
I'll pass.
I'll pass. Yeah.
I'm not trying to tackle B. Jacobs. Yeah. He was different, but he was like 6'5", 255, talking about he's about to run a 4.4. Sure. He ran 4.5.
So did you think he played a different position?
Yes.
Like
he was
linebacker?
He was sitting next to Sean Merriman.
Oh, wow.
Sean Merriman was 6'5", 260
Yeah.
or 255.
Right.
Like they were the same size. So I'm like, oh, this must be like a last minute, edge that's gonna come here, perform, and maybe bump up the ratings. Man, that joker was a problem.
Speaking of Derrick Henry, I saw a quick clip with Barry Sanders the other day, and they asked him the obvious, who are the top 5 running backs right now in the NFL? He said Derrick Henry. He said Saquon Barkley. He said Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs at number 3. And he said Christian McCaffrey.
That's 5.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. He gave another one.
C-Mac, man.
He said Achane. And I was like, I was surprised he left James Cook out there, but he rattled him off. That's Barry's opinion.
I know Bray likes Achane. I'm sorry, bro. I'll trade him to you next
It's all
time.
good, man. You know what? I'm not even worried about it. I understand how to play the game now. Don't worry. This fantasy season will be much better. But that makes sense with Barry. Like Barry's, and when you talk to, I don't call him old head, but when you talk to greats, that's a better word. When you talk to breaks, when you talk to guys that have been there, guys that have done that, guys that are looking with that keen eye, they're not just going to give you 1 year. Like, I don't care how you try to pry it out of them. Well, what about just this year?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like pulling teeth with them. So he gave you the guys that over the past 4 seasons, he believed exactly. Show you a little bit. I've seen enough. This is what it is.
That's why you said Derrick Henry number 1.
Exactly.
Right. Speaking of the combine and speaking of football, Brad Holmes, this is a massive offseason for him. I think we all agree with that, right? I don't know many Lions fans who wouldn't agree with that. Not that he's in danger of losing his job, but and he's got great credibility with us. I don't doubt that. But he needs to recoil a little bit, right? I mean, there's some things that he's done wrong that people have pointed out, and appropriately so, don't you think?
This is his third most important draft. This is his third meaningful draft. This is the third one. And the reason why I say that, first draft is going to be the most important. Who do you draft first? What does he do? He goes and gets Penei Sewell. That's his first draft pick. It's the one he stuck by, and damn it, he had a home run, knocked it out of the park.
Sure.
The next important draft, it's not Aiden Hutchinson. It's 2023. It's after you now are starting to go the right way. After we see what you're building and you're 9-8, what does that draft look like? Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Jack Campbell, and Brian Branch. Knocks it out of the park. The next 2 drafts, he didn't have to necessarily knock out of the park. We wish he would have. We wish it would have been a better draft the last 2 seasons, but he didn't have to. This is now the 3rd most important draft, and it's actually going to be the most important draft for Brad Holmes.
Yeah, we don't I'm not going to judge last year's draft just yet. I saw something the other day where Tate Ratledge was one of the better rookie offensive linemen in football, based on pressures allowed and a few other things, which, you always got to take, I suppose, with a grain of salt. I think if Miles Frazier is healthy, that could really help the draft turn around. But I don't want to judge last year's draft just yet. The previous year, absolutely. And I think it's fair to call it a disappointing draft. But we know this is a big one. And we also know that he has not been the most aggressive general manager in football when it comes to free agents. Think about it for a minute. DJ Reed, right? Kevin Zeitler, correct? Who are the other free agents he's brought in that makes you go, everybody stop. This was a coup.
Oh, yeah.
Can you think of any?
We always go back to Zeitler and Davis.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, Carlton Davis?
That was a trade. That was a trade.
Correct. Yeah. So it's DJ Reed for me and Zeitler. I can't think of really anybody else. Maybe David Montgomery.
Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah. So Kevin Zeitler.
Monty,
Monty and DJ Reed. It really hasn't done a lot of it, right? Yeah, I think David Montgomery was a good one.
Yeah.
And I think it gets sometimes a little bit overlooked. Maybe it's because people feel like he might be on the way out. I don't know. Here's what we do know. The center position has to be addressed. Is he going to do it in free agency? Here's what Brad Holmes had to say at the Combine today about the center position and how the Lions plan to attack it.
Look, we're always looking not only just at the center position, but really every position. We want to add more competition, add more depth. So, look, that's obviously just not just center, but offensive line, really both sides of the ball, really. That's something that's not going to be ignored. So whether it's through free agency, through the draft, we'll definitely look at it.
I mean, it's Brad Holmes. You're not going to get a lot of him. What am I supposed to pull from that conversation?
Yeah.
Like, you asked him about center, and he went to every position on the football field. Like, we asked him about center, and he said, well, yeah, we definitely going to look at center. We're going to look at tackle. We're going to look at offensive line. Yeah. We're also going to go on the other side of the ball, and we're going to look at all those positions. Anything that we feel and that's why it's like I don't want to get mad, because it's nothing to get mad about.
No, I'm not saying get mad. No. I do like that he at least brought in free agency associated with the position.
Okay.
Because you would know this better than I would. The position is, it takes a lot to be a rookie starter in the National Football League at that position. You got to be really smart.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you got to be Creed Humphrey. He came in and did an outstanding job as a rookie for the Kansas City Chiefs. You're talking about Tyler Linderbaum. He came in right away and was ready to rock and roll. Like, every once in a while you'll get some of these guys, but it's tough. Because those guys are the eyes. Those guys are the ones. And if they can't get into that situation where they're like, when they can't point out the mic and they can't see the defense and they can't get the quarterback to where he's supposed to be, that's a tough position. And you're not talking about an offensive line that is, let's just say after the season they came up last year, you're not talking about an offensive line that's already in great shape. It's an offensive line that's trying to get there. The free agency piece has to be the one for the center. You saw when Jared Goff struggled last year, when the Lions offense struggled last year, it's because of the pressure up the middle. It's because the middle allowed Jared to stay off pace on third down. Second downs were a lot long. You got to have a guy that can protect you right there where you feel really good.
So you mentioned the tackle. The last thing the Lions want to have happen to them is the same thing that happened to them last year. And that is, you know what? Maybe we didn't anticipate properly when it comes to Frank Ragnow's retirement. What's going on with Taylor Decker? My hope is that they have some conclusion before the NFL draft in April. But here's what Brad Holmes had to say about Taylor Decker at left tackle and how their conversations have gone so far in the offseason.
Yeah, obviously Taylor, he's earned the right to have as much space as he needs to reflect on, a long season, and we respect him. We give him that, but obviously, with the start of the new league year coming, that's obviously you want as much clarity as possible. So within these next couple of weeks, we'll make sure that we have that clarity.
How much should they push?
I mean,
sounds like they might not
cleaning those books. I think you got to push. I think you got to push because I think you're going to draft the tackle. I think they're going to get one. They're going to get a center free agent. They're going to draft the tackle, and I think this is the tackle that you will be building for when Taylor's done. I think you still need Taylor there in the beginning, and I still think you still need him there to maybe guide this tackle. Let this tackle follow. Let this tackle watch. What is it like to be a left tackle in the NFL? You keep Taylor for this year. You allow that process to take its to kind of like naturally grow. It will be an amazing sign if Taylor Decker comes back. If he doesn't come back, I will be nervous.
If he does come back and he tells them, yes, I'm going to play another year, do you still draft a tackle?
Yes.
So do I.
100%. Like it's not about your feelings. This is about what we're doing in the future. You're giving us a year, but we're thinking about life after you. So I wouldn't. Yeah, they definitely should draft.
I was going to ask if you guys got the the notion from his comments and the way he put it, especially the last part. If he's basically like, we would love to have him here, but we're not necessarily going to wait for him.
I think that's a good read into it. That's kind of how I felt when he said it. Yeah, I mean, I saw a Pro Football Focus.
Feels different than last year.
It does feel different. It feels like they've learned from last year. I saw a Pro Football Focus mock draft. I know we don't have to get into all, but they had. I always you immediately go down to 17. I don't give a crap who's going at 1 through 16. I want to know who's going at 17. Spencer Fano from Utah is did you see that too?
Mm-hmm.
Detroit's offensive line, they write, struggled down the stretch and is in flux going into the offseason. Fano would give the Lions some options after he earned FBS leading 92 Pro Football Focus overall grade over the last 2 years, whether he plays tackle or guard. He would be a welcome addition to the Lions offense. And thank you. and the reason I read that, or the reason I wanted to make note of that, is because even if Taylor Decker comes back, that dude might be able to move into left guard position and strengthen that, depending on how they feel about Christian Mahogany. Okay?
Yeah, we lost a lot of offensive depth. I like this strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'd be interested. Yeah, I know he's how he graded out there, but I watch. Be careful when you're talking about Pac-12 tackles. Like, they don't necessarily see the best as it relates on the opposite side.
Okay.
In terms of what's coming down the pipeline, defensive end-wise, speed, aggression, physicality. But hey, you know who our right tackle is. So.
I think you just want Monroe Freeling because you refer to him.
I like the name. I love the name.
As an old Negro Leagues player.
This is very true. Monroe Freeling still, I'm telling you.
When I first said that, that's what he said.
Because it was so true.
I know it was.
He was the first one to get a no-hitter in the Negro Leagues. But realistically, if the Lions didn't go offensive line, if they chose to go in a different direction, would that shake things up for you? Would that put you in an uneasy position, considering what last year was from the offensive line, considering that we need 2 offensive linemen to not draft one in the first round? Would that put you at ease if they went, hey, here's a linebacker that we need, here's a defensive end that we need?
Yeah, I think it depends on the edge rusher they would get. I mean, if Reuben Bain happened to fall to them, even though he's a little undersized, I'd be like, man, I feel pretty good about that. If David Bailey were there from Texas Tech, I would feel pretty damn good about that, right? If a Cassius Howell from Texas A&M was there, it might make me think differently. So I'm not sure yet.
I'm starting to look at this defensive end situation. Like, you don't have to go pay Trey Hendrickson. You don't have to go pay Max Crosby.
Yeah. You can't afford him anyway, unfortunately.
100%.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, like, and you're not going to pay
Crushing
El-Qadim Muhammad.
dreams.
Yeah, I know.
You're not going to pay El-Qadim Muhammad. So with that being said, if you can find that edge rusher, if you can find, whatever it is, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I wouldn't either.
If you pull the Chicago Bears move, and now I'm going to pay a tackle in the center.
Yeah. The only thing I would also say to that, I don't know if you can do both, but if you went out and got a Connor McGovern, we'll just use that as an example, all right? And you pried him away from the Bills, and he became your center, and you drafted an edge rusher. At some point, and I don't believe in drafting for need. You draft your best player. At some point, that left tackle position hopefully is addressed.
Exactly.
Okay? It can't be, well, if Decker gets hurt, if he does come back, we've got Giovanni Manu. Or Decker has given us his retirement papers, we've got Giovanni Manu. That's where it's got to change for me.
Don't sleep on that Conor McGovern situation. I know he probably loves Josh Allen, and they're probably boys, and they probably drink brews on the weekend, et cetera, et cetera. But they're a dysfunctional organization. And one thing about linemen tend to be very in tune with what's going on, and they make moves based on for their family based on those things. They're a dysfunctional organization. The owner seems to be over here. Brandon Beane seems to say whatever the hell comes to his mind. I don't know if he even likes Joe Brady or if that's something that he sees because his coach got fired. Dysfunction creates doubt.
He's gonna. That will be a very interesting decision. Cade Mays is the other one that I've brought up regarding for Carolina. He would come at a much cheaper price than Conor McGovern.
Yeah, Conor's like 16.
Yeah, I think Sport Track's expecting him somewhere in the neighborhood of $14 million. Somewhere.
Cash, homie.
Yeah, bring that cash, homie.
That's straight cash.
Brad Holmes also. You had mentioned we'd mentioned David Montgomery as a free agent signing, and love David Montgomery. I think he runs super hard. I think sounds like a great teammate, but there is a decision to be made there too. And Brad Holmes talked about David Montgomery at the Combine as well. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, look, I've been in touch with David's his agent and his representation. Obviously, look, we love David. He's a great player. We love to have him. Kind of want to put last year in the rear view and just move forward, but obviously a player has to want to be at a certain place as well. So those conversations are still fluid, and then we'll just kind of see how it goes.
Oh, that's an interesting comment. It makes me feel like maybe David Montgomery realizes he doesn't necessarily want to be here. Look, it's a tough role to
the end
accept.
of that
It's a really tough role to
tough.
accept. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's one of those situations where due to the offensive line and maybe Johnny Morton not knowing how to run the system and then Dan Campbell taking over, there were a lot of areas in which David Montgomery just was a ghost. Hey, he didn't get any opportunities to help this team. And there are a lot of moments, a lot of situations where we felt he could help. He could better serve as a more physical back in some of those games, especially when you don't have an offensive line per se. So he took the social a couple of times, and he made some cryptic comments, and he scrubbed his social, and he brought it back, and he did some things, and I feel like that's what Brad is pointing to. It's like, hey, look, man, we'll see what we can make happen. He seemed a little disgruntled last year. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, don't you think everybody recognized it?
Yeah, it wasn't really hidden. I think we all thought he was out. Like after
I'm agreeing with y'all.
The last two games of the season,
tough to hear and process this.
Yeah, Steve Wilds in the chat says, "Look,
didn't he say bye?
If he's saying this, he's gone."
Didn't Demo say bye after like the second to last game?
Oh, I don't.
There
remember
were some
that.
things that he posted on socials. I'm gonna try and go back and find some of those for at least maybe tomorrow's show if I can't get them for
appreciate
today.
my time.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like
a past tense thing. You're saying? Almost.
Yeah, he made some comments that had a lot of people feeling like, "Yo, this guy's definitely not coming back." Then he came back later like, "Oh, don't believe everything you hear." And the Lions, like, we love him.
Yeah.
And this statement right here leads me to believe that what we heard or saw from David Montgomery before might have been real. And you see the people in the chat. I didn't think he was gone. I was here like, yeah, he's going to be back. They want him. The end of that clip, I didn't hear the end of it earlier when I was listening. I was like, all right, this is the one, clip it.
Yeah.
That ending just made me sad.
Lions are going to try to trim some fat and trim fat, and unfortunately, he's probably one of those guys. I think I'm looking at David Montgomery. I think we're looking at Graham Glasgow. There's a couple people that just won't be here. Graham Glasgow,
Alex
gone. Anzalone, gone. Yeah. Like that, where they are. Realistically, what's coming down the pipeline as it relates to Sam Laporta, Aiden Hutchinson, Brian, you pick the player.
Yeah.
They're going to run out of money at some point with all these, so you have to do this. It's a part of it.
Yeah, look, we said this even during the season, early in the season, before all that came about. Even when they were 4-1, we said, look, you better be prepared for this team to lose some of those guys who helped form their identity. I would add another one. I think Kirby Joseph could be a casualty too. So just just cut him. It's not that I don't like the player by any stretch.
I know what you're getting at.
That's going to be an interesting one as it relates to legal.
It is. It's going to be very interesting. But if they fill that void as a safety, and we said this, we said you're going to need for the draft and free agency. We said you're going to need a linebacker, you're going to need a safety, you're going to need a defensive end, you're going to need a center, you're going to need a guard, and you're going to need a running back because we thought David
we need
Montgomery.
A whole new team?
What's that?
Do we need a whole new team?
I hope not.
$50 million.
Chelsea Clinton.
By the way, the Lions are going to play in Germany. They're going to lose a home game, and they're going to play in Germany because this is what the NFL does. Thumbs up or thumbs down on headed to Germany? I know Amon-Ra St. Brown would probably be pretty happy about it, and it makes sense from a marketing standpoint. But are you thumbs
a
up?
home game for the Lions?
I think you're missing a home game, so you're missing a Ford Field game. Yeah.
It comes with the territory for the NFL. At some point, you gotta pay the piper. Everybody has been over there, including Super Bowl champs. Yeah, so I mean, this is Germany. Amon-Ra can say "Sprechen Sie Deutsch."
You like it though?
And Don can share 'em. No, I don't like when they play way over across the pond, and I gotta get up at 9 in the morning to watch these games. Take the players out of their, I won't say comfort zone because that's kind of, it seems like kiddie or petty, but you take them out of their rhythm. You take them out of their rhythm to send them over to Germany to play this game for a week, and then they got to come back here. Typically, when teams come back, they're sluggish, they struggle. Most teams lose when they come back, so I don't like it. But here, this is where we are. So the fact that this is where we are, I mean, hey, it's Germany. It's a beautiful country. Amon-Ra St. Brown's from Germany, and you can get it out the way because once you play. Yeah, now you don't have to go back for a while.
Can I ask a simple question? I'm sure a lot of people have already talked about it. I mean, Navy Goat SC Rat says, we're going to Spain this summer. No way I'm making another trip over the pond a few months later, but it would be a cool experience, though. Germany's a good time. I've been to Germany plenty, okay? What's the end game for the NFL here?
Super Bowl and probably London, which be probably the biggest city that can handle it as right now. Yeah, the end game is London, Super Bowl.
Okay.
And then America. And then the next year, Spain and Barcelona.
So
then back in America. And then...
That's interesting. You don't think it's to get teams into a league there, right? You would have to
start a league.
Yeah, you would have to expand a lot.
Yeah.
In order, you can't just have one team in London or one team in Munich. Or one team in Barcelona. You can't do that.
I hear that conversation, and I'm just like, having teams have to come over here and you play like knock 3 off,
yeah,
and then come back, and then but ultimately,
that's a long time down the road, though. I mean, football's got to catch fire over there first and foremost. No pun to the Rhine Fire, who played in Germany. Rhine, Germany. But football's got to catch fire over there first. You've got to have a lot of participation. I can't imagine many American-born players wanting to go over there and be part of a team unless there is an actual division over there.
Yeah.
If you've got 4 teams, I get it. But if you only have one, that's asking an awful lot travel-wise for everybody involved. Of course, they don't care about the players. So.
I don't know if it's trying to bring teams over there. I think it's like placing teams in certain cities so you can become this city's team.
Gotcha.
Like if you like the Lions, every time they go to Germany, I mean, every time they go across, they're going to Germany. They become the Frankfurt Lions, if you will, or wherever.
Yeah.
I think they become the team. Where does Jacksonville Jaguars have become like the team owner? Because they always go. I think that's more so what it is, just continue create that international appeal for the sport. Football with a U is always going to be number one, like 1,000%. I think what the NFL can do is just grow the game as it relates to viewers, as it relates to merch buyers, as it relates to insight for the game, not necessarily dropping teams.
Yeah, Steve brings up a really good point in the chat, and because I don't know the answer to this. He says nobody in Germany cares about the NFL. When I was there, but it was a long time ago, okay, and I worked for Fox over there doing the NFL Europe, and I did it 3 straight summers. Nobody did care.
Yeah.
The NFL didn't bring over their contingent and put them in the stands. People did not care there. They cared about, like you said, football. So I guess a lot depends. Maybe it's grown there. I'll give Roger Goodell enough leeway there. Maybe the football has grown over there. The National Football League has grown over there. And more people care about it. How many of those people in the stands are true, in this case, Germans, and celebrating the NFL, or how much do you think are planted by the National Football League in general?
I don't know. I think enough to where they keep going. I think enough to where they're having these conversations.
Yeah.
I think enough to where the Super Bowl this past year was $140 million. I think those numbers are starting to go up. Obviously, when you have Bad Bunny perform at halftime and he's growing to the Latin American population around the globe, that's what it is. It's just promoting the popularity around the globe and getting that viewership in. Mm-hmm. I think that's the goal, the viewership aspect.
I don't suppose them playing the Super Bowl in Germany would matter to us. We'd still get up and watch it, right? It would just be at an earlier time. So
they would have to play it later.
They would have to play it later. Yeah.
I love the way Braylon put it too. Like when you ask him the question, for me, sometimes it's like, yo, football and breakfast, cool. But Braylon's like, man, for these players, it's taking them out their rhythm.
Yeah.
And for the best product we can have, maybe play them a little bit later. It's cool the way like his mind, it goes right to, the player's perspective.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Especially like you said, play it later because they want TV ratings. That's huge for them. Yeah. Ratings is big for them in an effort to get those big money advertising dollars. So you can't lose sight of that. Speaking of big dollars, Tarek Skubal's making big dollars. He's made a decision that I think is, got a lot of people talking in baseball. I don't know how people in Detroit feel about it, but we'll address him and the World Baseball Classic when we come back on the Braylon Edwards Show after this from Dr. Jeffrey Pierce and Buddy's Pizza.
When I was talking to a guy at the gym today, and I recommended Dr. Pierce to him. He said that he went to get an MRI, and he looked claustrophobic, and he couldn't sit in the machine, and some other stuff going on, so he wasn't able to find out what was going on with his back. But you know where I told him to go? I told him to go to Dr. Pierce, Michigan Sports and Spine. I told him because they have the machines, they have the equipment, and they got the guy that will get you the diagnosis to see how your back is doing. They have ultrasound where you don't even need the MRI to go in there and do certain things. They got the ultrasound machine so you can see exactly what's going on. Michigan Sports and Spine. Jeff Pierce has been doing this for a very long time. He and his crew over there, they will get you right. Also, too, if you're not an NFL player, if you're trying to make sure golf season's coming up, Shep, and you want that swing to be right, you want your back to be loose, you want to make sure all the nicks and bruises and aches and pains are right, you go to Doc gets you right, and that golf swing will be 300 yards straight down the middle.
Oh, I wish.
248-426-9944.
Not much better than playing golf. Maybe eating Buddy's Pizza. That's pretty damn close, right? I mean, it's as good as it gets. The original Detroit-style pizza is there for you, creating award-winning pizza at your request. Signature salads, home-style pastas, and a whole lot more. And if you're ready to cater an event, save 20% off your next catering order of $200 or more when you call Buddy's. You got to use the code Woodward20 and visit buddyspizza.com/catering today.
Planet Fitness now has even more best-in-class strength equipment. Join today for $1 down and save.
We're stepping it up.
We're not slowing down.
Finding new face, new focus.
Love that new equipment smell.
So, you in?
Join the club today. Save when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Like a frostbite straight from the divine. Cold rush on my skin feels so fine. Muscle freeze, the ache. No side effects, no mistake. Chill sub-zero. Icy and true. Feel the chill. It's all for you. It's not magic, just science play. Chill sub-zero.
Big injuries, big news. shows twice a week. Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shaq Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Find your sun with Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Cold, refreshing, and made for moments like these all year long. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
It's game on at Art & Jake's. Wings, burgers, pizza, and ice-cold drinks served up with attention to detail. Wall-to-wall TVs, great service, and a vibe that keeps your crew coming back. Art & Jake's, a sports bar setting with a fine dining flavor.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball. Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com. Most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Looking for dinner plans at Sizzle? Head to Black Rock Bar and Grill, home of the steak on the stone. Now, we don't talk about that as much as we used to. 755 degrees, volcanic rock. Cook that steak to perfection, shrimp, whatever you're putting on it. That volcanic rock makes it just a little bit better. Treat yourself on Tuesdays, which is today. Tasty Tuesday special. $13.99. Feast on half a pound of ribs, coconut shrimp, and fries. I'm telling you, had those ribs 2 weeks ago. Fire. I say it again, fire. Early weekend, Thursdays. Sizzling Thursdays. You'll get a 6-ounce sirloin, shrimp, scampi, and your choice soup or salad. And another side, all for just $19.99. It's not a meal, it's an experience.
All right, guys, one of the best experience getting your hair cut, Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, sign in. Before you know it, you're handsome, you're clean, you're out the door, and you're feeling good for the rest of the day. It can make your day. Lady Jane's open 10 till 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It is wicked awesome.
And we back.
I want to catch up on some super chats.
Let's do it. Definitely. And thank you guys for supporting us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Sending in those likes and the super chats, as well as smashing that like button. And I see Charles here. He sent in a couple of super chats from the, and I know that some people have some questions as well from the combine section. But Charles, he says, $5. Do teams look harder at players from colleges in their own or their prospective states, aka the Lions, looking at U of M, MSU, WMU, and I'm going to add Central in there as well?
It's interesting.
No, that's a real good question, and it's the truth. Like, and typically with your whatever schools are around you, schools that you see all the time, you hear about the players, you see all the players, so you get a chance to kind of view those players a little bit more than others. I mean, it's not exactly where you get all the talent from, but you can see Detroit Lions are down the street from University of Michigan, so insert, maybe you get Ada Hutchinson, maybe you get another one, but it's the only Michigan player on the team is Ada Hutchinson. So I think it's more so the institutions is where you get them from. You look in the last 10, 15 years, where are you getting players from?
Yeah.
Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, and go down Oregon, Texas. Like, these are the places where you get, and I look at the coaches. Who's coaching these players? Because I want players that when they come to my program, like, I'm not trying to teach them how to play football. I want kids that know how to play football. I just want to teach them my system.
They didn't look close enough at Eastern Michigan when Max Crosby was there, and they didn't look close enough at Antonio Brown either. So,
Yeah,
but I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
It's real.
I mean, Max Crosby, our friend Rob Rubik literally told Lion Scouts, "You got to watch this dude. Okay, he's a good mid-round pick for you," and they just basically blew him off.
I mean, when you're talking about players that come from certain schools, what is that competition level? Sometimes people can't see past Eastern Eagles. They can't see past the Central Michigan Chippewas. They can't see past the Buffalo Bison and Khalil Mack, who had 6 sacks against Ohio State.
Right. Yeah. How do you miss that? I don't understand. You're right. They didn't.
Raiders
they saw how good he was. Buffalo Bulls, by the way, have some respect for the Mac. I'm just kidding you. Who the hell would know that?
What did I say, Bisons?
Yeah, that's all right. It's good enough. It's close enough. Any more?
Oh, yeah.
The Buffalo.
We got another one from Charles. He was loving the combine segment, so he sent in some. He says, I'm sure some young guys are asking, so is the combine going to hurt if I don't need it, or does it elevate?
That's a good question. Once again, it's if you're gonna shock somebody, if you're gonna do something that they didn't expect, or then or if your last season was a letdown season for you, and maybe your position is dropped, maybe before the season you were projected to be first round, middle, second round, maybe now people haven't talked about you, but you still get an invite. Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah. So I gotta bump that. I gotta bump that stock up. It's important to go. It's just not necessarily important to work out. Depend on where you are.
But he's wondering too. Can you improve your stock or decrease your stock? I would guess absolutely yes to both those.
Well, like if you're Arvell Reese right now, who's been mentioned number 2 to the Jets, who need a quarterback, and they're still mentioning Arvell Reese, which is a damn good player. He's been mentioned there probably 7 out of 10 mock drafts. I have nothing to prove. Like, I was one of the better defenses in college. I went to Ohio State. I won a national championship, and everybody knows I'm like that. I can play. I can't go higher.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going any higher at this point.
Yeah. So what's the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they know who I am and what I am. Let's just, let the draft happen. Yeah. And you're right. It's at least 7 out of 10. He's going number 2 to the Jets. And I know the Jets need a quarterback, but is there another quarterback you'd take, number 2 overall? For me, I wouldn't.
I don't even think there'll be 2 quarterbacks in the first round. Maybe Ty Simpson in like the late 20s.
Late 20s. I'm be honest with you, man. I know people draft for need. I wouldn't even draft Mendoza first overall. That's just me. Go ahead, Kool-Aid. What else, buddy?
Definitely. Charles sent in another one as well. And he says, $5 super chat, bargain basement Brad ain't playing with house money anymore. I can respect that. He says he can respect that. People steal about him. But on to this offseason, crickets from Lions.
No disagreement here. Like, this is a bit more of a series. We talked about it. We talked about this all halfway during the season. We said if this continues, it's going to be a different type of offseason. Well, it did continue, and now here's the offseason. This is a serious one all the way around, and I'm sure he knows that. You're starting to hear the conversation. Kool-Aid, Shep, you pointed out some things. Conversation starting to change a little bit. I wonder how much of that was Sheila Ford-Hamp's letter to the fans. It was some language in that letter. So this is gonna be a serious offseason, and they're approaching this.
Here's a question for me: Does it change or become different from this organization when there's going to be a presidential change as well, like a change amongst Rod Wood out and
Mike Disner or Chris Spielman, one of the two, I would guess. Yeah.
Shout out Chris Spielman.
I don't think so. I don't think it'll affect a player personnel situation. I don't think it'll affect how they pick players, how they view players, how they have their system in play. And Dan and Brad and Chris, who's been there already. So I don't think so.
But Disner, the COO of the team, also does the contracts. I do wonder if any of his duties change when it comes to the position of Rod Wood. Rod Wood didn't oversee necessarily the football side of things. He oversaw Ford Field first and foremost.
Almost like business operations versus basketball operations.
You're kind of like Dave Brent with Michigan.
Yeah, exactly. Any others?
Let me see here. Yeah, Charles sent one in as well about the football in Germany conversation, its popularity. $2 super chat. He says he hates to say it. They got rugby over there. They don't need the NFL.
It's a bad man sport right there, rugby. Tough dude to play that sport. Yeah.
You gotta be. It's tough to continue because like when I watched rugby and I was younger, I'm like, well, this is no different than what we did. Like we used to play tackle in the street and we used to play physical and all that. But then like you keep watching and you're like, no, these New Zealanders are a little different. I said I'm straight. That's full. That's like that. The Polynesian League, where they have the old school Oklahomas, where
Yeah.
it's just like you got the ball and I'm tackling, and they run at them.
Yeah.
Like I would never play that.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
Same.
Absolutely.
Those guys are big and they are dense, and I mean that in a good way. Dense is in
You're breaking
tough to run
something
through.
if you try to tackle one of them.
Oh yeah,
something's breaking.
and you're going to get embarrassed in more ways than one.
Yeah,
I was going to say as well, doing your earlier doing your combine thing, they were pointing out that you had a lot of reps, that you had more reps on the bar than Amon-Ra, and that they thought you were close to the all-time record or one of the high records.
Yeah, the record for the wide receiver at the time was like 25 or 24. And I BS you not.
Did you know that at the time?
No,
Oh,
because I would have broke it.
Yeah.
I didn't ask. Like realistically, I promise you this. I swear to God. At Michigan, 225 is a test, just like any other school. I did 5 coming in as a freshman. I did 15.
2 1/4. You're saying on the bench?
Yes, 2 1/4 on the bench. I did 5 going into my freshman year. I did 15 going into my sophomore year, and then I did 15. I did 24 going into my junior year. Once you get to 20 plus, they change it to 275. So I was at 20. I was at 24. No, I was at 24. Then in the winter I did 30, and then they moved me to 217. They moved me to 275. I did 275 for 17. So when
That's a real Brahma bull.
Yeah,
Wait, you did 275 pounds 17 times?
Yeah, when I was in college. And so legitimately, when I finished after the Rose Bowl,
that's tough.
After the Rose Bowl, shout out to Derek Touche, who trained me at Velocity in Denver. He and my agent said, "Look, no one cares how strong you are." Like that was a conversation with my agent. He said, "You're 6'3", 6'2", and 7/8 wide receiver." They said nobody cares how strong you are. Nobody cares how many you can lift up. We just want to work on functional strength, track, speed, running, dynamics, 3-cone, like all that's the only stuff I worked on. So those 22 reps, was without lifting weights.
I think the
summer,
dude. I think the 17 of 275.
Yeah.
275 is
That's
two
insane.
big plates and then quarters on the end. Okay, that's a lot of freaking weight to do 17 times. If you're just doing it twice to show a max,
Get the
that's
pumps,
one
yeah.
thing. Yeah, he's doing it 17 times. That's working out. There's a lot of people right now talking 100. Just put 2 big ones on to 135. You doing that 17 times? That's a lot of weight, man. That is big. All right, good stuff.
Mike
And
Gibson,
there's
man.
Steve in the chat immediately. That's stronger than linemen.
But that was and that was the one thing about Michigan and the Big Ten, and y'all know I'm not lying because they just recently stopped saying it because of adding other schools. What was the Big Ten known for? They were the strongest
Physical, yeah.
conference in America.
Yeah.
Like that's what we were. We were stronger than the SEC, not as dynamic. We're stronger than the Big 12, not as explosive. That was strength. So Mike Gittleson had us right.
Sure did.
Yeah.
If you're
We
doing
slow.
if you're doing 275 17 times, you absolutely.
Now, the team was slow as
and
hell,
there might
but-
be somebody telling you maybe you could get one more there. Come on, one more. All right, real quick before we're out of here. Tigers lost today to the Braves in spring training. Big deal. Tarek Skubal has said he's going to pitch.
I'm happy.
Yeah, that's the belief.
Go Tigers, go Braves.
That's the belief.
Yeah.
Tarek Skubal says he's going to pitch 1 game in the World Baseball Classic. It's a big deal. Like there's no baseball in the Olympics any longer. All right, and Team USA's got a really, really good team, maybe the best in the world. I'm not sure about all the Japanese players, but he says I'm trying to do both things, trying to pitch for Team USA, but I understand the need to be here with these guys and get ready for the season. I think it's kind of the best of both worlds in that aspect. I'm grateful they took me in that capacity. How do you feel about him pitching just 1 game if you were the World Baseball Classic committee that put this thing together that includes Michael Hill as the general manager and Mark DeRosa as the on-field manager?
Look, all due respect, love you, Scoobs. I think there have been a couple things, in the last 2 months that have been like eye-opening. Maybe, the I don't have to get into that. Play or don't. When you watch Team USA as it relates to hockey and you see what it means to those individuals and the whole 9 yards, like they're not like, let me play a game, let me not play a game. I know it's gold medal, I know it's different. But if you're going to play, be there with the squad, stay there with the squad, and go through the same thing that those guys are going through. Now, if you're not going to play, that's cool too. Just don't play. Don't try to play one meaningless game, then leave, and then try to lobby to get back if the team goes all the way. If the team goes. play or don't. I don't like this idea.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either. They're going to start by playing Brazil, okay, on March 6th.
Soccer?
Yeah, exactly. Then they take on Great Britain on March 7th. They take on Mexico on March 9th. And Italy on March 10th. Right. You don't need Tarek Skubal to throw against Brazil, Great Britain, Italy. I don't even think you need him against Mexico, quite honestly.
Take Reese Olsen for that.
Yeah. Well, he's out for the year. But even him being out for the year might be able to beat Italy. Yeah. I guess my question would be,
this is country shaming, by the way. We're sorry, Italy and Great Britain. You guys have tremendous.
And by the way,
sports.
I love Italy. I do. Yeah. I love it. It's one of my favorite places to go.
The food and the women, or the sports?
All of the above.
Okay.
What would stop anybody else like Griffin Jacks from saying I'm only pitching one game? Or Matthew Boyd, or Garrett Clevenger, or anybody from saying, what if Aaron Judge said this? I'm only playing one game. I'll give you 4 at-bats, but then I got to be with my team. There's a part of me that says, good for him. The Tigers need him. There's a part of me that also says, wait a minute, why are you willing to do this? Why just one game? And I can't help but wonder, what if he weren't a free agent? Would he do it if he were locked into a long-term deal? I don't know the answer to any of those. Yeah. Those are the things that I think about.
Troy, allowing him and his agent to kind of pander and have some trolling jokes and the comments, and
I'm just
Tarek
wondering.
Skubal was becoming an interesting character.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. I had somebody this morning say, "Look, I mean, I'm okay with it." I said, "Are you okay with it because it's Tarek Skubal, or are you okay with it because you think a lot of pitchers should be willing to do this, or the WBC should be willing to take pitchers with this constraint? If that's the case, and you're only playing one game, when exactly you're playing? What about all those?"
Y'all on this one?
Yeah.
I will say this. Hold on. Listen here to the chat and everybody out there. We love Tarek Skubal. We think he's the best pitcher in baseball. Yeah. We're not saying anything negative about him. We know you guys.
Be careful, man. Hey, you're hating.
He's number one. He's number one.
I agree with y'all on this one. I really do, especially when you talk about team sports and being there for when you sign up, it's to be there. You know, and I get he's a pitcher, but
it's just nothing wrong with saying no.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times individuals, I've been there before, like Shep, I know you have. Everybody's been there where you just say yes because. Like, it's okay to say no. Like, at the end of the day, if you piss off a couple fans around the world, so what? We still love you here in Detroit, and this is where we want you anyway. So it's okay to say no.
I think they're going to be okay considering they've got 9 other players who are either first or second team all MLB. All right? Yeah. They've got a lot of talent, but it does help to have the best pitcher on the earth. I just would like to have him pitch against Venezuela or Japan or the Dominican Republic. I don't care if he
got to beat Brazil.
I don't care if he takes them out against Brazil. He could take them out against Brazil drunk, and he'd probably still win.
Right, though harder.
Thanks for some of your time on this Tuesday. We're back with you tomorrow here on Woodward Sports. Don't forget the heavyweights later on today at 5 o'clock. Have a great rest of your evening.
I promise I'm going to wear some Piston stuff tomorrow. I just, I had to take a break. Just one day, I had to take a break. I'm sorry, Kool-Aid, I'm sorry for the K conversation. I see you got a little tight over there.
No.
A little tight.
I love it, bro.
Not as tight as the chat.
I don't know, because I told the chat, I was like, look, man, Bray and Shep have been around in pro sports longer than most of us probably been alive. Yeah. Like, what they're saying is exactly right. Me and Rod Beard went through the same stuff. And I'm like, but it's not fair. He's like, but this is the deal. This is how they're going to view it.
It doesn't matter how many times you say he's my favorite player. It doesn't matter how many times you say he's the best guard in the world. It doesn't matter how many times you say he's the MVP. That's not what people are holding on to. They're holding on to, I can't believe you think he had a bad game.
Yeah.
He'll be better tomorrow, and so will we.
Let's go, y'all. Let's go.
It is amazing.
Looking for your daily sports fix? Look no further. Join Braylon Edwards, the University of Michigan legend.
Lofting it right corner of the end zone for Braylon, up in the air. Touchdown, Michigan!
And Shep.
Do you believe this comeback?
Your favorite sports commentator as they tackle the hottest topics in the world of sports. Catch the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep, Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network. Get ready to laugh, learn, and love sports like never before.